Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. David Mappus, and I will be teaching this course, TH 407, Christology and Soteriology. Christology, what is it? Soteriology, what does that mean? Just fancy terms to talk about the person and work of Christ in salvation. Nothing could be more important today in our marketplace of ideas than a clear understanding of who Christ is and what did he accomplish on the cross. Before I talk about the course, let me talk just a bit about myself. And I got to take you back 45 years. I was just a young guy, 20 years old. I had embraced Christ, and my life was being transformed almost, it seems, on a moment by moment basis back then. During my adolescent high school years, I loved to torment and persecute biblical Christians. I loved to do that. I was the party boy of high school. I loved to mock biblical Christians. And then I became one. I embraced Jesus Christ on Christmas Eve in 1979. And what a year it was. I was displaced from my home. I was disowned by some family members. And God met my needs and blessed me to such an incredible extent. Moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I started working as an engineering analyst in aerospace, started attending a very small local Bible college, and eventually I would go back and chair the biblical studies department in that college. But at this point, I was only 20, 21, a brand new Christian, and I was called to the dean's office. And the dean wanted to know how I was doing in my classes, and I went on and on about how I loved the courses and what I was learning. And finally, he said, "Now, how are you doing in the Doctrine of Christ course?" The course I'll be teaching now, the Doctrine of Christ course. And I said, "Oh, it's my favorite course." And he looks at my file and says, "And you're Dave Mappus?" I said, "Yes, sir, David Mappus. That's my name." And he said, "Well, Dave, you don't seem to be doing too well in the course." And I just kind of blurted out. I said, "Did you know that Jesus was 100% God and 100% man, 100% human?" Of course, he knew that, right? He had a doctorate in theology, and he said, "Yeah, Dave, I know that." I said, "Did you know the two natures don't mix, so you can't mix up the human part with the God part, because if you do, you get something less than God or more than man. Did you know that?" And he said, "Yeah, Dave, I know that." I said, "Did you know that the Son of God added humanity to himself, and that's when he became Jesus? And we call that the hypostatic union." And he goes, "Well, Dave, that's the hypostatic union." And he kind of explained it. And the more we talked, finally he closed his folder and said, "Dave, tell me more. Tell me more about how you came to know Jesus." And we prayed together, and I did fine in the course. I hope that you'll do better in this course than I did in my first course. But beyond that, I hope you'll grow in Christ. Today's marketplace of ideas, today's environment is oppressive to the person and work of Christ. And I hope to unpack some of those ideas throughout the course. The course is a blended hybrid course. Now, what that means is there'll be a far more discussion-oriented work in your forums. There'll be a less face-to-face time, all right? So it's a bit of a non-traditional approach. There'll be more forum, discussion, interaction, and I am involved in those discussions, and I press the students. It's not just a free-for-all of opinions. We really do press one another for biblical clarity. There'll be some face-to-face, but not perhaps as much as you're used to. The course is a theological and biblical study of soteriology and Christology that explains the orthodox views of the nature and person of Jesus Christ and his work in salvation. We'll be looking at key scriptures. We'll be looking at some heavy things, the nature of justification, the nature of conversion. We'll probably touch a bit on election. We'll be looking at the nature of Christ, his humanity, his deity, and why they don't mix, his temptations. We'll be looking at some more critical issues as well throughout the course. We'll also be talking about practical things. How do you lead someone to Christ? What does the person have to know to embrace Jesus Christ? What is saving faith? And what is it we are to put our faith in, or who should we put our faith in? So it'll be a smattering of those ideas. I generally will have a case study every week for students, and those case studies involve you in real life ministry experiences. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about TH407, and I hope you take the course. I look forward to seeing you. If you'd like to know more about me, more about my publications, all my publications, papers I've done in conferences, they're on my webpage, www. At davidmappus.com, www.davidmappus.com. And you'll be able to just Google that and you'll be able to find that. So Lord bless you, and I hope to see you in TH407.